Water restrictions will cost this city jobs. Fortune 500 companies will cross off Virginia Beach. And at risk are the businesses we already have.
Vote for a change. Vote Mark Bailey, Mayor of Virginia Beach.
An important announcement to taxpayers.
The new federal tax withholding rates will affect you. In return for a few extra dollars in your paycheck now, your income tax refund will be less next year. Or even worse, you will owe the government money.
To keep your refund where you want it, you must submit a new W-4 form to your employer. Come to any H&R Block office now and we'll prepare it free. Absolutely no charge.
We think you should choose whether you get a refund, not the government.
Good news about good people, Monday at 6.
The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
The dawn of this season is met with a variety of emotions. Excitement for the racing and nostalgia at the end of a legendary career, that of King Richard. The first stop of the 1992 stock car season was the crown jewel, the Daytona 500, a high bank, 2.5-mile super speedway. Lap 92 was the story, as defending champion Ernie Irvan and Bill Elliott squeezed out Elliott's teammate Sterling Marlin. They touched off a 14-car chain reaction. Avoiding the mayhem was 30-year-old Davey Allison, who held off a late charge by Morgan Shepherd to win his first Daytona 500. And Davey and his dad Bobby joined Lee and Richard Petty as only the second father-son winners at Daytona. The second stop was at Rockingham, North Carolina, and Davey Allison picked up right where he left off at Daytona, leading much of the race early on. But on his tail was Bill Elliott, who finally took control and led the last 213 laps to win his first race for his new owner, Junior Johnson. His domination of the race brought to mind his 85 successes when he went to victory 11 times. Then it was stop number 3, the short 3/4 mile at Richmond, Virginia. And it was the scene of one of the closest races of recent memory. Bill Elliott went wheel to wheel, lap after lap with Alan Kulwicki. But at the finish line, Elliott held his line and won by a scant 18 inches. And Elliott again dominated as he led a total of 346 of the 400 laps. The question is now, can Bill Elliott make it 3 in a row? We are live at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Bill Elliott sits inside the second row with Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, those 2 wins that Bill Elliott has came in North Carolina and Virginia, but Georgia is Bill Elliott's home state. Atlanta Raceway, your home track. Will it make it tougher to win 3 in a row playing in front of the home crowd?
Well, it's always tough to win 3 in a row. We're going to give it our best shot, see what comes up.
Bill, you're running radial tires here at Atlanta for the first time. Are there any concerns about that?
Well, not right at the moment. We're going to have to monitor them as the race goes on and then determine what they're going to do after a new number of laps.
Well, good luck.
Just south of Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are ready for the running of the Motorcraft 500. Winston Cup Stock Car Racing. Hello and welcome to Atlanta. I'm Paul Page, and we now begin ABC's motorsports coverage for this 1992 year with this great Winston Cup Stock Car race. And then immediately after our live coverage here, we'll bring you round number 1 of the International Race of Champions from Daytona, Florida. And I'm going to tell you, you have never seen a finish quite like this one. And then, of course, we begin our coverage a little later of the Indy cars with coverage at Phoenix and Long Beach, leading up to live coverage of the 76th running of the great Indianapolis 500-mile race in May. Now, this is a very special year for us at ABC. We have been covering the King, Richard Petty, back to 1962, and this is his final racing season. Richard Petty has announced his retirement at the end of the year. Now, Benny Parsons, you've been following him most of your life.
Since 1964, I ran my first NASCAR race, and I was a 22-year-old kid. How do you meet Richard Petty? He walks up to you, sticks out his hand, and said, "Hi, I'm Richard Petty." I knew then he was a special guy. In 1970, when I ran my first full-time year, about the 5th race of the year, I run into Richard Petty trying to pass him, crashing. All he ever said to me was, "Kid, these races are 500 laps, 500 miles long. You got to be patient. That's the key." Then I found out he was also a friend.
A very special man, Richard Petty. And right now, he's with Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, this 1992 Fan Appreciation Tour has kept Richard Petty busy throughout the week. Before he comes to a racetrack, he travels all over the country, through the South. In fact, all the way across this country, fulfilling his obligations to his fans. But Richard Petty says that the best time, the time where he has the most fun, is when he straps himself inside this car and gets ready to start a race. But Richard, is it as much fun now as it was when you began racing?
Well, it's just so much different right now than what it used to be. But this year has been really a lot of fun so far. Last 3 or 4 years not been too good because I hadn't done that good. But this year is going to be a fun year. So far, it's been a lot of fun.
Well, Paul, he has 200 victories to his credit. If he hopes to score 201 today, he's got a long way to go to the front. He starts in row 16.
And boy, wouldn't you love to see it. So Richard Petty sits ready to go. Now we're ready. Let's go down trackside again. Here is Gary Gerald.
And Paul, here at the head of the grid, we're still waiting for a confirmation from NASCAR to get the starting command. It is not yet quite here, and so we're going to continue to stand by. Tom Wagner, a vice president of the Ford Motor Company, stands by with us as this entire field is waiting. We've had a couple of drivers who were late getting onto the line. They had problems getting through tech. That's a story you'll be getting into in the course of this race. Davey Allison, and also it was Harry Gant. And now let's switch over to Jack Arute as we await the command to start engines.
Well, Paul, one of the big stories occurred yesterday afternoon during a Grand National race when this driver, Ernie Irvan, crashed early on. He just got out of the hospital 2 hours ago. He suffers from a fractured left collarbone. And he will be coming out of the car after the first green flag lap. He'll be replaced by Terry Labonte's younger brother, Bobby Labonte. Labonte has only driven 4 Winston Cup races in his career.
So as Ernie Irvan sits ready, the command to start engines has been given. And these magnificent Winston Cup stock cars are beginning to fire up and down pit road. The balloons are released, the pulse quickens, and we are ready to go racing. The entire field sitting on pit road and looking very, very strong indeed. Now, one thing that has been very strong this season, the use of the word dominance has come into play, is the Ford automobiles. And just to prove that, let's take a look at the finishes of the first 3 races this year. Ford has been extraordinarily powerful, finishing first and second in all 3 of them. Another fact to take a look at, how many laps have been led by Ford? Over 990. The rest led by General Motors. Bobby Unser, there's no question they are incredibly powerful this year.
Well, Paul, this can be a very important year for Ford. It's a fact. The make that wins here today sells tomorrow, and Ford has not won a Winston Cup Manufacturers Championship since 1969. They've been working hard for over a year on the program that's winning today, and the secret is in the cylinder heads and the engine. The new Ford heads are making at least 30 more horsepower than the GMs. Now, 30 may not sound like a lot, but it makes a giant difference on the racetrack. This is only the 4th race this year, so don't count GM out. They've been working flat out to meet the Ford challenge. The front row is Ford, but Terry Labonte's hose is on the 2nd row, where he out-qualified Bill Elliott.
And when we talk about domination, in the past, the title Dominator used to belong to Dale Earnhardt. He has not had the greatest season this year, and with the Chevrolet, there is some question how well he can do. But right now, Gary Gerald is right there alongside Earnhardt's machine.
Oh, this is the man that's won the Winston Cup Championship 4 of the last 6 years, but this year it's been a season of frustration. His best finish thus far, 9th at Daytona. And compounding the situation, a tough case of the flu this weekend, but he says he's feeling stronger as he gets ready for 500 miles at Atlanta. Now, you talk about Ford dominance. Some people have been wondering, is Dale Earnhardt at a disadvantage because he's behind the wheel of a Chevrolet, not driving a Ford? And you throw into the mix those radial tires for the first time in Atlanta. Atlanta, Goodyear has brought the radial air. And Richard Childress and this crew, led by Dale Earnhardt, have struggled trying to make the adjustment, because when you go to the radial, it's a much different handling setup than with the bias ply tires they've run in the past. But remember this, here is a man who has won 6 Winston Cup races at Atlanta in the past. You cannot count him out. Paul?
No question about that. And let me tell you, too, Dale Earnhardt is hungry. Let's go back up toward the front of the field at Billy Elliott's car, Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, Bill Elliott will be riding this race with an untested setup. Late yesterday afternoon, after the final practice session, crew chief Tim Brewer determined that the setup that they had elected to go with was not the right way to go out of concern for twisted axles, for axles coming apart down by the shaft. And here's what the problem, what causes that problem is the radial tires. What a lot of these teams are doing is putting camber in the rear wheels to gain adhesion in the corners. Benny Parsons told you how much corner you have here in Atlanta. Well, they looked at the Grand National race yesterday, saw several problems with teams there. They have elected not to go with camber in the rear end. They have gone to a different gear selection, but it's a totally unproven setup, Paul. They don't know what it's going to do.
All right, now the starting field begins to roll away. They sat on pit road plenty of time to give all these engines to come up. Nice operating temperature. Now let's take a look at the key players in this race here today. We'll look at the full field in just a few moments. But right now, let's take a look at the front 13 rows. In the 13th row, it's Davey Allison, the Daytona 500 winner and the current point leader. Alongside is Hut Strickland. The 12th row, Jeff Bodine, who has 3 runner-up finishes here at Atlanta. And Ricky Rudd, the winner of the 1987 Motorcraft 500. The 11th row is Michael Waltrip and Ernie Irvin, who was injured in yesterday's Grand National event. In the 10th row, it's Bobby Hamilton, last year's Rookie of the Year, and Pennsylvanian Jimmy Spencer. The 9th row, Dale Jarrett, quarterback for Redskins coach Joe Gibbs' NASCAR team, and Greg Sachs, a former winner at Daytona. In the 8th row, Kyle Petty, the 3rd-generation driver looking for his first Atlanta win, and Ted Musgrave. In the 7th row, it's Darrell Waltrip, a 3-time winner here at Atlanta, and Morgan Shepherd. 2 of his 3 career wins have come here. The 6th row, Rick Mast in the Oldsmobile, and Rusty Wallace, who began his Winston Cup career here in 1980. In the 5th row, Brett Brodine, and alongside is Harry Gant, who is currently 2nd in the point standings. In the 4th row, Dale Earnhardt, a 6-time winner here at Atlanta, and Alan Kulwicki, who has never had a top 5 finish at this track. In row 3, Ken Schrader, the defending champion of the Motorcraft 500, and Sterling Marlin, driving Junior Johnson's other Ford. The 2nd row, Terry Labonte. He's finished in the top 10 in all 3 races this year. And Bill Elliott going for 3 in a row. On the front row, the outside is Dick Trickle. And on the pole with a new qualifying record, Mark Martin. He was the winner here last November. And there is the front row as they circle behind the safety car here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Mark Martin and Dick Trickle. Bobby Unser, a most interesting front row.
Well, Paul, Ford driver Mark Martin's year has been a tough one. He's crashed in 2 out of the 3 races, but his last victory was right here last year. And today, he's on the pole, and that should really boost his confidence. Dick Trickle, 50 years old, and has won over 1,000 races, but never in Winston Cup. He didn't even have a full-time ride a month ago when he was hired by the Stavola brothers team and got a brand new Ford.
So we'll keep an eye on that front row, Ford power. Here's the onboard cameras for today, on board with Jeff Bodine sitting up on top of his car. What a view that one is. And Richard Petty, of course, got a ride with the King. And then up toward the front of the field, we're on board on top of Bill Elliott as well. A couple other views for you will come up a little bit later in the day, too. Now, Benny Parsons, they're running the radial tires for the very first time here at Atlanta, and that's got some people worried.
Paul, this racetrack has always worried people because you can see that corners are so long. They're a half-mile long. The straightaway is only a quarter-mile long. You go through the corner, 24-degree banking, get a lot of heat in that right front tire, and there's just no straightaway to cool that tire down. It stays hot all the way around the racetrack.
So on the line today as 42 Winston Cup stock cars circle this 1.522-mile high bank oval, 24 degrees of banking, 328 laps to make up the 500 miles, and the race record is held by Dale Earnhardt from his 1990 win at 156.8 miles an hour. This field's still on their parade laps as we take a look through the starting field, and a reminder Ernie Irvin, injured in the accident yesterday, will start the car, but we're standing by because he's expected to change his position and allow Bobby Labonte to take over right after the first lap. And we look for a green flag as they come off the fourth turn. They work on the backstretch right now, down through the entire field.
There we saw Davey Allison back in the 13th row, Daytona 500 winner.
Man who's been struggling with motors this weekend as well.
He's been having trouble with the handling. For some reason or another, Atlanta is just not suiting him, and probably related to the radial tires that Benny's talked about a while ago.
And they've talked about they've changed 5 engines. As Paul said, they have changed 5 engines here this weekend.
Apparently they're finding metal particles in the oil, and that's something you really have to worry about. The front row, the second row, as they are lined up, and in the third turn. The high banks here at Atlanta, 500 miles lie ahead. And what could prove to be a most pivotal afternoon here in the early part of the Winston Cup season. The safety car comes down off the course. And Terry Labonte inside the second row in the blue car. The front row, Dick Trickle to the outside, Mark Martin to the inside. Doyle Ford gives him the green flag, and we are racing. Down into one, just like the pace lap. Labonte comes down to the inside, moves inside of Mark Martin, and there's 3 abreast down the backstretch.
And Terry Labonte takes the lead going in turn 3, but can he make it stick?
Labonte battles with Dick Trickle as Martin drops back and receives a challenge from Bill Elliott. And as we come to the conclusion of the first lap, from the second row, Terry Labonte moves up and takes the lead.
That was quite a daring move that Labonte made, going 3 abreast down the front straightaway on the first lap.
So as Terry Labonte takes the lead of this race and begins to pull away, here comes Ernie Irvin, and Jack Arute is waiting for him.
And Benny Parsons, you were talking about the great run by his brother, Terry Labonte. Well, now Bobby Labonte will get a chance to show how well he can drive this McClure racing car. Ernie Irvin, only 2 hours out of the hospital, pulls the car to pit road. Now, what they did before the start of engine, they practiced this driver exchange to try and get it done as quickly and expeditiously as possible. Irvin still hurting with the collarbone. He is out of the car, as you can see, and now Labonte gets in, and the seat belts and shoulder harnesses were already adjusted to him, so he should not have a great deal of difficulty getting in the car and getting strapped up. The window net is going up. Crew Chief Tony Glover in control of that, and they are now repositioning the steering wheel, and it's taking longer, Paul, than they anticipate. He will go a lap down.
And as he goes a lap down, Terry Labonte flashes across the line in his number 94 car. It took 37 seconds to get a new driver in Ernie Irvin's car. And now Labonte continues a battle with Dick Trickle as there goes Ernie Irvin out.
Well, you can notice right after the start of the races, some of the drivers are a little bit careful. The weather's really cool today, and also it's a little bit of a breeze blowing, and they've got the radial tires. A lot of them are still not sure of it, even though they're faster than the bias flag. But now they're starting to race again and start to gather each other up a little bit.
So Labonte in front, Dick Trickle in second place. Mark Martin runs in third right now. They're strung out at the front of the field, and the rest of the field safely around this track. There's Bobby Labonte now in Ernie Irvin's car. And he's got a couple of laps to make up if he's to get back to the front of this field and do battle with these cars. Labonte still holding off Trickle. Mark Martin has moved up. His teammate, Bill Elliott's teammate, Sterling Marlin, has pulled into fourth place now.
It looks like that Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin, both those cars now have the faster cars. And we see Martin pull right up on the back bumper of the Trickle car.
Of course, if we're looking at that battle of manufacturers, well, for the moment, Oldsmobile, GM product is sitting in front. It's going to make a lot of people in Detroit, that General Motors pretty happy.
No, Paul, I don't think we've ever seen a time that's been more important between the car manufacturers as it is today. Ford changed their program last year or for this year to an incentive program. In other words, you get paid on what you do with a Ford product, whereas General Motors kind of picked out the guys they want to be their team guys, and the rest of the guys are not doing as well.
And here comes Dick Trickle as he puts a nose inside of Labonte. Mark Martin closes up behind him, and Dick Trickle moves into the lead.
Dick Trickle, Billy Stavola, Mickey Stavola, those guys that own that car have to be thrilled to death with their car. But here comes Labonte back. He gets a grip on the outside. He will lead this lap.
The completion of lap number 6 sees Labonte go onto the scorecard as the leader of the race. Trickle had him on the backside, but the record book will show Labonte. 5 cars running separate now from the rest of the field. Labonte, then Trickle, then Mark Martin. And Richard Petty runs in 30th now. There you see him alongside Glotzback.
That's
Chad Little just behind him.
Chad Little in the 66th, trying to get by Richard Petty. Back to the lead. Terry Labonte being pressured once again by Trickle. And we see Alan Kulwicki.
Kulwicki gets around Sterling Marlin now.
Oh, you got 5 cars there you can throw a blanket over, and this is just the first few laps at the race. Now, that's really hard racing this early, don't you think, Benny?
I think it is awfully hard. And Paul mentioned, we talked about the radial tires. Some of these guys ought to be sitting back watching what these tires are going to do. There goes
Kulwicki alongside of Mark Martin. And Kulwicki picks up the position. So definitely Alan Kulwicki's on a charge.
I think Kulwicki's mad. He lost by 18 inches last week. He wants to win by 18 laps this week.
Yeah, get me back up in front. I want to race with the leaders. He's very close right now.
You know, the passing, if you notice when Kulwicki did the pass, he did it pretty easy. It looked like it's pretty easy. The cars actually back off going into the turns here. It isn't like at Daytona where they run almost wide open all the way around. They absolutely back off. So if a guy thinks he can get in the turns a little bit easier, deeper, he just drives right by going in.
So the race underway, 8 laps are complete. With a surprise from the second row, Terry Labonte has moved up to take the lead. They're trying to challenge him, but they haven't got by yet.
Ford designed a special truck for night people. So, of course, sports fans wanted one too. Now Ford introduces its new Flare side for yet another side. Don't these people ever rest?
The best ever rest.
With a full-size night, sport, and bold new Flare side, Ford takes all kinds in style. More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Massaging sports cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no odor. Why sports cream? Because it works.
Athlete's foot. Every year, over 28 million Americans get it. Try NP27. Its doctor-recommended ingredient stops burning and itching fast. NP27. Nothing's a better cure for athlete's foot.
I'd do anything for my baby. Anything for my baby.
Nice car.
Trade ya.
Anything for my baby. Baby Ruth.
If you're nuts about nougat, crazy for caramel, and absolutely wild about peanuts, you'd do anything for a Baby Ruth.
Anything for my baby.
Hey, that's my car.
Baby Ruth.
The Motorcraft 500. Brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Kellogg's, proud sponsor of our 1992 U.S. Olympic team. And by Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Back at the Motorcraft 500 just seconds ago, this was the situation as Alan Kulwicki pulled inside of Terry Labonte and took the lead of the race. Boy, we talked about him being hungry. There's evidence of it.
He is hungry. As I said, last week 18 inches, this week he wants to lap if he can to show what a strong car he is. And look, he's pulled away by what, 4 or 5 car lengths.
Back to live action as Kulwicki out in front. Labonte now runs in second place.
And we see Dick Trickle has dropped back to 4th spot, but still staying in that top 5.
You know, it's an interesting thing, Benny. I've been sitting here watching back in the field, the front of the field, the difference in the way the cars look going into the turns. The guys that are running in front are getting in the turns nice and smooth. I think they figured out the radios. I watched, for example, Dale Earnhardt going into #1 turn a little while ago, and he does about 2 sets. In other words, the car is jerky going in, not smooth at all, totally unlike Dale Earnhardt. And I notice there's a lot of the cars having the same problems.
There's Earnhardt. He now runs in 19th place.
Behind Ricky Rudd, he started 7th, has fallen back to 19th. So And Earnhardt, as Bobby said, he's been running the top of the racetrack. He tries the bottom, but that's not working for him either.
Michael Waltrip just behind there.
You know, as we go through the garage area, we just talked to these guys, and they don't have the radios figured out. Atlanta is one of the last places that Goodyear's come up with the radios. And again, it's like Benny said earlier, there's so much turn here, not much straightaway. The tire becomes more important on this track than probably 95% of them.
So Dale Earnhardt, can he get back in contention as we look back at the front of the field? And Labonte now beginning to close just a bit on Alan Kulwicki, the number 7 car. Kulwicki, a college graduate, degree in engineering. Very, very bright driver, but he knows exactly the way he wants things.
And is very much a part of that team as far as working on the car to make those things happen.
Well, he's the owner of the team, and he has his own team. And Benny, I guess we could make up a case. Maybe that isn't always a smart thing to do, but there's the Darrell Waltrip and Kulwicki and a few of these guys that are owning their own cars these days.
And you look at Bill Elliott, who's been very much a part of his team for the last 10 years. He's now over with Junior Johnson, just driving the car, and I've never seen anyone more relaxed than Bill Elliott is right now. He doesn't have that pressure of running the team on him. He's a relaxed individual. But this is Alan Kulwicki we're seeing here, and he's got the world on his shoulders trying to win a race.
So Alan Kulwicki runs in front of Terry Labonte. Mark Martin in 3rd place. Dick Trickle sits in 4th. This was Alan Kulwicki back in 1970. As I said, he holds a degree from Wisconsin in engineering. One of the few college-educated racing drivers. He thinks it's important.
You can't just come out of high school and say, well, I'm going to be a race car driver, because you don't know if you've got the ability, if you're going to get the breaks. And you could spend 5 years trying to drive race cars before you ever got to the point where you found out if you even had enough ability to do it at a level like this. And, you know, a lot of times if you find out that you're not cut out for it, it's too late to go back to school. So I'm glad I got the education, and I think in the long run it's helped me in racing too.
Well, you have to ask yourself, Benny, on a day like today, here's a guy with an engineering degree. Really, the problems you have to solve with the tires, with the rear axles, are engineering problems. So maybe it does help a bit. He's out in front.
Well, there's no doubt in my mind that the smarter you are, the better you make a race car go around the racetrack. But experience is the key ingredient. And Kulwicki's been here long enough now to have the experience and know what these racetracks need on his race car.
You know, and very often the guys that work the hardest, that have it the roughest at times, you know, like, for example, this time last year he didn't have a sponsor. Sometimes they work a little harder and try a little harder, and it shows up on the racetrack.
On board with Bill Elliott, you may look up ahead there, and you'll see Darrell Waltrip has managed to get past both Elliott and Marlin and is moving up.
Let's take a ride with Bill Elliott. Down in turn 1, 190 miles per hour. Off the back on the gas. We heard him get on. He's about in the middle of the racetrack. As he comes off, he lets the car drift up against the outside retaining wall. Now, he's relaxed. This is the back straightaway. Now already backing off the gas into the corner. This is the pass for the 2nd spot, or the 3rd spot.
As Dick Trickle gets around Mark Martin, let's go back on board with Bill Elliott.
And the straightaways are banked 5 degrees. If Elliott spins, he's going to hit that inside wall. He has to go down and hit the wall.
Now look at that hood right there in the in-cam shot. Look at that hood shaking. Now that shows you the little black spot right in the middle of it by Budweiser there is the carburetor inlet. You can see all the air pressure pushing down on the hood. That's pushing down that air to get into the carburetor. The guys work more on that one little spot for horsepower than any other thing in the whole car.
Yeah, if you see the hood on your passenger car wiggling around like that, pull it in right then, right, Bobby?
You definitely pull it in, know something wrong, but in this particular case, that's a sign of success.
Bobby, if your passenger car runs 190, I don't want to ride with you.
Exactly. So on board with Bill Elliott while still at the front of the field. There he is, number 7, Alan Kulwicki. Terry Labonte is chasing. 23 laps are now into the record book as the run for 500 miles in the Motorcraft 500 continues.
Welcome to a world of new ideas from Goodyear. Welcome to the tire that's changing all-season driving, Goodyear AquaTread. To the new Goodyear Eagle GS Ultra Performance radials. To the new leading-edge Goodyear Wrangler GSA radio for light trucks. Welcome to all of the new ideas at Goodyear. Come and discover why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Up here, the days run long. Sometimes the job is all uphill, but you keep on going. And once you've made it all the way to the top, the mountains will take your breath away and remind you there's no place you'd rather be than right here, right now.
Hey, use a spark plug that's tested to fire clean for 30,000 miles. Motorcraft. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
No better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Skin Bracer Aftershave. Its cool, brisk tingle really gets you going. And what a great scent. Skin Bracer.
No better way to face the day. Find better.
I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. And I just know someone's going to find out.
What type of adult would come forward and admit to eating a kid's cereal?
I don't just love them, you see. It's more of a craving, a visceral sort of desire.
That sweet crunch in cold milk is a taste no adult can resist.
Honestly, I never even touched the stuff.
Yes, he does.
I'm sold. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
Get ready for one of the most exciting high rock races ever. The world's best drivers duel at Daytona as the International Race of Champions begins today on ABC Sports.
We're back at the Motorcraft 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway, where Alan Kulwicki continues to lead Terry Labonte. Labonte led the opening laps, and then Alan Kulwicki was able to overhaul him. Other racing going on. Davey Allison, he's moving up 25th to 12th. Look at Darrell Waltrip sitting up there in 4th position right now, and Hut Strickland has moved from 26th to 13th. Back in 8th place is Bill Elliott, who's fallen back to 8th. There you're on board with Bill after starting on the 2nd row. Let's get an update on him from Jack Arute.
Well, Bill Elliott is out on the racetrack. He's going around. His teammate Sterling Marlin has had a tire go down. In fact, they have blistered the left rear tire. Now, this is part of the story. What Marlin has done is Marlin has stayed with the setup that Elliott had. Elliott, on the other hand, has taken a setup where instead of going hard and deep into the corner, he wants to be able to come out at higher RPM and quicker out of the corner. It seems to have worked so far. He has settled back, and Elliott seems content with where he's running, and they've already begun to burn up the rear tire on his teammate Sterling Marlin, who had the old setup.
So Sterling Marlin makes that stop on the 28th lap of 328. That's an interesting situation within the team, Benny.
I'm telling you what, you know, Sterling Marlin made the pit stop, but 41 other drivers was as concerned as he was about what was going on. If he's blistered a left rear tire, then all those teams on pit road will know it by now, and they'll start scrambling around trying to change air pressure, trying to tell their driver that they've got a problem.
Battle for 7th place. There goes Bill Elliott. Around Brett Bodine, Dale Jarrett in the fight as well. As they come side by side off the corner. You see Davey Allison in there as well.
Also Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett, and Hut Strickland. All those cars, that's 4th position.
Boy, it's a nice little pack, too.
And there's what Jack Arute was talking about. Elliott's running higher, trying to run the car smooth around the racetrack and not get on the bottom of the racetrack like Brett Bodine and tear that left rear tire up, trying to run high and smooth.
Looking back from Elliott, the battle is for 7th place.
You know, as the racetrack goes on, it gets more rubber on it. You can see the track starting to dark up on the TV screen a little bit. That's rubber being laid down. The track gets slipperier. Now, that could mean two things. The car's not handling good. It's going to blister more because it's going to slide more. In a lot of cases, that'll loosen the track up. The guys will slow down and blister the tires less. I've been watching like Dale Earnhardt, for example, running down in the turns almost right up against the wall. A lot of the times, like you look at Bill Elliott there, they run high because they're a little bit loose, and they make a little less tight radius around the corners.
And the fight continues, not just side by side between Brett and Bill. Look at Dale and Kyle behind him. Boy, what a fantastic battle. We'll stay with this. Davey Allison pokes his nose up in there. It's about an 8-car battle for 7th place. Good little fight.
It is that black car with the number 2 on it. We see at the back of that pad is Rusty Wallace.
You get an idea, too, when they go into the corner from this particular view back from the bumper cam on Bill Elliott's car. Look at the banking there. Boy, look how that car rolls over.
Well, it's a whole lot steeper if you stand out there, Paul, than it is looking at the camera. The folks just cannot believe how steep this track really is.
Next Sunday on ABC Sports, the World League returns. In our season premiere, we'll see the 1991 league champion London Monarchs as they host the New York, New Jersey Knights. Or some of you will see the new kids on the block, the Ohio Glory, taking on the Orlando Thunder. Pro football is back next Sunday here at ABC. But right now, it's auto racing as we're looking at this fabulous little battle as Bodine and Elliott continue to seesaw back and forth, and then there's a whole group lined up just hoping that there's a chance for them to poke their nose into it. Hut Strickland takes a low line alongside of Davey Allison. Doesn't work for him.
Well, they're cutting a big hole in the air for the guys behind, but the guys behind don't have any way to go to get by. They have to just sit there while these two cars run side by side, having one heck of a battle.
So there's Brett Bodine as he runs on the inside. Number 26, the Quaker State car. Fascinating driver.
And we see he's driving a green car. You know, that used to be bad luck. Guys would not drive a green car. Brett Bodine drove a green car when he was back in college. Second race car he owned was green. You know why it was green?
Why?
He went to the paint store to buy blue paint. I mean, but he had no money. The guy knew that. He said, I tell you what, I've got some green paint I can't sell. I'll give it to you. So that's where he got his green.
That becomes your trademark.
Exactly.
Not enough money. Well, I bet a lot of us can tell you stories like that.
You know, talking about little superstitions, it used to be a superstition not to eat peanuts. Yesterday I was over talking to Bill Friend. Somebody gave us peanuts. He laughed. He said, boy, 30 years ago, they would have thrown us out of this racetrack if we'd eaten peanuts, you know.
Everything in the world changes. At the front of the field, no change there. Kulwicki still being chased by Labonte. Dick Trickle rides in third place. But Darrell Waltrip has now moved up into fourth place. Kenny Schrader is fifth. Mark Martin sits back in sixth place right now. So now it's Jarrett and Bodine that go side by side.
And that is the race for seventh spot. Looks like Dale Jarrett is going to take it away. He does.
Well, Bodine slips a little bit further backwards. The number 18 Interstate car. Now let's remember that Sterling Marlin, there he is, number 22, had some tire problems. Came in, changed tires. Let's get an update on this situation from Jack.
Paul, this is the blistered left rear that came off of Sterling Marlin's car. Now, if it looks reminiscent to the type of blistering we saw at Indianapolis Motor Speedway several years ago, it is. They introduced radials there, they began to blister. And there's a spin in the racetrack.
Yeah, Schrader catches the wall in 3 and bangs up the right rear pretty good. He looks to be okay, but the caution will come out.
Schrader blew a right rear tire. The right rear tire disintegrated on Schrader's car.
Benny, could that have happened from hitting a wall because his fender's bent there also? I don't know.
I think that's what the tire did when it disintegrated on that right side.
Oh, we see Kenny unstrapping in the car. If we could look at the left rear or the right rear of that car, that might give us an idea. A lot of damage there. Hard to tell, though. What do you think?
Looks to me like the tire came apart and did all that damage as it came off.
I agree with Benny. That's exactly. You can see all the rubber along the side of the body right there. That's the flapping going on. Now, what happened with radials? First place, I've got to say that radials are not bad tires. They're good tires.
Best tires.
So in case we say something about them, I don't want people to think we're knocking them. But what happens is that sometimes in the Indy cars, we found out the guys put too much air in them.
Here it is as he's coming off the wall. He's already gotten in it. You can see he's got all the tires locked up, but no doubt that tire is what was the problem going into the corner.
Okay, we saw that brief flame. We talk about the bank of the racetrack. Here's Alan Kulwicki is in the pits.
So the leader makes a stop. This is routine under the caution. So the tire story may be an issue now. Let's go back to Jack Arute.
Well, as Bobby Unser alluded to, it's exactly like Indianapolis. Many of these teams, in trying to find the right combination, have begun to adjust the tire pressures beyond what Goodyear recommends, just as we saw at Indianapolis. That is the case with this blistered tire, in an effort to try and get a little bit of stagger. Now, Goodyear with the radials only allows these teams a ½ inch of stagger, and many of them want more. So what they've done is just like in IndyCar racing in the early going with the radial technology, they begin to try and find some with tire pressures to get better adhesion with these tires. That's what happened to Marlin. Might have been what happened to the 25 car as well, Kenny Schrader.
Well, Goodyear's been working hard with the radials. They are better, they are safer, but it does take a long time for the teams to accommodate them and learn how to run them quick.
breath.
As soon as I have my coffee, it's all gone.
Whether you admit it or not, it's a problem.
Okay, I have morning breath, but it doesn't bother anyone.
Don't be so sure.
Mine's not so bad.
Morning breath's not as bad as you think. It's worse. So get Scope. Its 2 powerful ingredients kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Was my morning breath really that bad?
There's no denying morning breath, so save your breath with Scope.
You take me back to that feeling. I remember ice cream sodas, holding hands in picture shows, driving home and one more kiss goodnight. I take good care of the sweet treasure. We share such good times together. You still get us where we want to go. And CarQuest keeps us rolling down the road.
When you're looking to quench a serious thirst, there's nothing like the tangy citrus taste of Squirt. Give your thirst a Squirt. Regular or diet.
This is where America gets together. Every weekend throughout America, there is great NASCAR racing.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Darrell Waltrip is the leader after a great pit stop. He leads them out now as they prepare to go green. Pole sitter Mark Martin had problems, too much bite on the racetrack. Jack Roush and the crews told us they took 3 rounds of wedge out of the setup. We'll see if he works any better. He's 5th in the single file procession as they get set to go green. Paul?
We've raced 1,134 laps this season. It's only the 12th lap, led by a Chevrolet. Darrell Waltrip is at the wheel, and he will bring them back to the green flag. He won the battle in the pits. Kulwicki built up a 2-second lead, then out came the caution, and he lost that lead in the pits.
He also lost 3 positions. He's back in 4th spot now.
There you see Mark Martin after his changes.
Green flag is out. Darrell Waltrip gets a great jump on Labonte. The 22 car, Sterling Marlin, remember, he made that unscheduled pit stop, so he is a lap down to these leaders. Also, the yellow car, 41 up front, that's Greg Sachs. He's a lap down.
So safely back to the green flag we come after the first caution of the day. The 41 car, Sachs does not count in this battle, but he becomes a factor for both Waltrip and Labonte, who are racing for the lead just behind him. Now Labonte tries the inside. Waltrip tries to find racing room as well, but decides to stay back, and Sterling Marlin pulls up alongside of Waltrip and moves right along past, picks up 3rd. Here comes Kulwicki as well.
Mark Martin's following Kulwicki. He gets by Waltrip.
Almost like Waltrip threw out the anchor there and begins to fall backwards.
Darrell Waltrip's car is not working right now as well as it was before the caution flag.
Fast pit stop, it's still not working on the racetrack.
So there's Labonte. And down in there, the 15 car. That's Bodine.
He's going by Waltrip. Dale Jarrett's going by Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip having some problems.
So let's go on board with Jeff Bodine now. And we can add in some telemetry from the Ford Motor Company that shows you the performance of this car. See that red? That tells you when he's tapping the brake.
Hey, he tapped the brake a little bit. These guys tell you they don't hit the brakes going these corners. RPM speed. Watch his speed down the front straightaway. 175, 186, 189. 189 miles per hour, and then lightly hits the brake.
Look at that RPM, Benny. That's turning her pretty tight for 500 lap race.
I was watching the speed. I was concerned about the speed.
8,200 RPM I'm seeing on there. 8,300 RPM. That's a bunch.
Dale Jarrett, Davey Allison just ahead as Jeff Bodine works himself down to the inside. And again, keep an eye on the upper left-hand corner of that box. Surprising how much he has been using the brakes.
And remember, at this racetrack, 8,500, that's getting a good draft down the straightaway. The cars are not running carburetor plates. There's no carburetor plates on these engines, just so the people know. If they did, they wouldn't turn this kind of RPM.
You know, Benny, I wonder how the drivers feel about this kind of telemetry, because you used to always come in and say, I never touch the brakes, no problem. Now, everybody knows the truth.
Everybody knows that they touched the brake. We saw Dale Jarrett's car wiggle as he went in the corner, in the third corner.
He's still hopping around a bit, stabilizes on the straight.
A lot of that is aerodynamic stuff that's moving that car around. This isn't a good drafting track as opposed to like Daytona or Talladega or something like that. More of a handling track, like Benny said earlier, but the wind from the other cars, the buffeting, moves them around a lot.
Battle for third place as Davey Allison gets around Dick Trickle and picks up third. Mark Martin closes in behind Trickle now. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth there. Again, the 41 car not running on this string, running a lap down. Out in front is Terry Labonte, picked up an advantage.
And that red car we saw, that is Jeff Bodine. Just went by the pole sitter, Mark Martin.
The 41 car, Greg Sachs, got a penalty a little while ago, going through the pits too fast. But just notice how fast he's going. And obviously, he's running the same speed as the leaders.
Now, to explain that situation, too, they do run a speed limit, 55 miles an hour here at Atlanta. You go through that pits too fast, you're going to get a penalty guaranteed. They monitor the speed all the way through. Labonte still runs in front with 49 laps complete.
Alka-Seltzer Plus goes to the Arctic Circle, where the toughest colds live.
The cold is miserable in this environment. Alka-Seltzer Plus takes care of the aches, the runny nose. It does the job.
Alka-Seltzer Plus fights tough winter colds with a combination of ingredients you can't get anywhere else.
Alka-Seltzer Plus has done exactly what I've needed it to do. If I don't go to work, the kids go hungry.
Alka-Seltzer Plus, tough medicine for tough winter colds. And for your tough sinus symptoms, try Alka-Seltzer Plus sinus allergy medicine.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Come morning, I need a cereal that wakes me up and gets me going. These are just flakes. Just looking at it makes me want to snooze. Hold on a minute. Simple, wholesome, tastes good. Heavens, yeah. This could put some giddy up in my get along. What do you call it?
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes? You got me, didn't you? I hate that.
Taste them again for the first time.
It puts the wind in your sails.
What do I like about the World League? It's 100%. Fast-paced, wide open, pro football. And that's my kind of football.
If you like good, hard-driving pro football, do what the NFL is doing this spring.
Get into it.
Get into the World League next Sunday on ABC Sports.
At the Motorcraft 500, lap 54 complete. Just a few laps ago, this man, Alan Kulwicki, got into the lead. He did it this way, coming down inside of Labonte on the front stretch. Little drag race, picked up the draft, and picked up the lead of the race. Labonte now in second. Davey Allison beginning to close in from third. Dick Trickle runs in fourth. And Mark Martin, the pole sitter, sits back in fifth place. And there's Davey Allison as he comes alongside of Labonte and picks up second place.
Davey Allison started 25th. He's up to second spot. So it looks like if he can keep the engine together, this is the guy to be reckoned with.
He's really got that thing handling. I've been watching him, Benny, and he's working just about any place on the track, and most importantly, he's working on the bottom to do the passing. The other guys that work on the top and not the bottom have a heck of a time trying to pass.
Because the bottom side of the racetrack is about the only place you can pass this racetrack, especially if your high groove is your better place and these guys are running high, if you don't have a prayer again.
Unless you're Richard Petty in the old days.
Remember, too, that Davey Allison is on his 5th engine today. Let's get an update on his situation from Gary Gerald.
Well, Paul, we just got a quick word with Larry McReynolds, the crew chief for Allison. He's moved to second, as you pointed out. They took 1 round of wedge out on that last stop. This car now is really handling well. He may be the fastest car on the racetrack as he chases Kulwicki.
So there's Davey Allison as he works his way around, having picked up second position. They found particles in the oil of that car several times this morning, kept changing the motor. Back at the front of the field, Alan Kulwicki. Let's get an update on this car's situation. Here's Jack.
Well, Paul, I'm with Paul Andrews, who's the crew chief for Alan Kulwicki, and we understand you're blistering left rear tires.
Yeah, I just talked to Goodyear about it. We don't think it's going to be a real big problem. You know, it is a blister. If a car gets pushing real bad or loose real bad, we're going to try to take it easy, and we'll just see what happens. We think it'll be good for the rest of the day. Get a little rubber on the track, and we'll be in good shape.
But the question I put to you is, do you run the recommended Goodyear tire pressures, or are you experimenting?
Right now we're running recommended, but you know, we'll do what it takes. If we feel we need to do something, we'll experiment a little bit.
I would have to think that right now, despite the fact that Alan Kulwicki's leading, he's got to think maybe he's got a time bomb on that left rear.
I think if I was going to do it, though, I'd go with the tire engineer's recommendation until I was real familiar with it. Of course, you don't know how much extra the crews have been able to discern out of that tire. Out in front, Alan Kulwicki, the 7 car. The race thus far at 50 laps. Terry Labonte was the leader of the race, averaging at that time 149 miles an hour. There'd been 5 lead changes and 1 caution flag. That when Kenny Schrader got into the wall. 39 cars remain in the run, and Alan Kulwicki is out in front. Lap leaders thus far: Mark Martin, Labonte, Kulwicki, then back to Labonte, then Darrell Waltrip took over, then Labonte, and then slightly after the 50th lap, Kulwicki moved back into the front of the field.
Well, remember, on the tire problems, a racer's a racer. He's going to run whatever tire pressure makes the car go fast first. And then secondly, I just noticed Kulwicki smoking the left rear tire as it came off the turn there. But they're going to make it go fast first, and then secondly, they'll start worrying about how to make them last. That's when they'll come back to the stock pressures.
So 60 laps are now complete. Kulwicki still runs in front, but Davey Allison is closing in. Here is the fight for 7th place as Mark Martin gets overhauled.
And Darrell Waltrip is going back to the front. Remember, he started first. He drifted all the way back to about 10th, and now he's working his way back. Strange.
Benny's running awfully high, so we know he's not handling right, but apparently as he runs a little while, the tires must get hot and start suiting his chassis settings a little bit more, because he definitely doesn't go fast when he comes out of a pit stop, but he's going faster now. Look how high he is on the track.
And our pole sitter, Mark Martin, has drifted back. This is 8th spot. 7th spot. Darrell is now in 7th. The 6th car of Mark Martin is now in 8th.
You notice Darrell right there in the car 17. When he gets up, he goes a little bit higher in the turns than the other guys are.
Darrell Waltrip sits in 7th.
Terry Gant in front of him. He's in 6th spot. The 15 car, Jeff Odine, is in 5th. There's the 4th place car, the black and red car, Dick Trickle.
You know, Harry Gant's really had a pretty good year when you think about it. I think he's still somebody definitely to watch in the points fight. He's sitting there second in the points coming into this, and he's been pretty consistent throughout this year. Let's go down to the pits again at Jackaroo.
Paul, Bobby Unser was trying to determine and thought maybe that the tires would have to come back in for Darrell Waltrip. Well, that is indeed the case. I checked with his crew chief, Jeff Hammond. The tires that came off on that first pit stop, temperatures were great, pressures were terrific, but they said they knew that it was going to take 10 to 15 laps before they would, as they say in racing parlance, come back in and allow Waltrip to go back to the front.
So Waltrip runs in 6th. We're back at the front. It's Davey Allison now stalking. Alan Kulwicki closes in, and they will now have to work their way through traffic. That's Dave Marcus in the 71 car as they move high around Marcus.
And Davey Allison is quicker than Kulwicki right now. He has caught him, and it's all but the thing now. Just as soon as he gets by him, he will start pulling away from Kulwicki.
Now let's keep in mind again the tire staggers that these cars are having to go. With the radial tires, they only have one choice of stagger. That's a half-inch. That's in the diameter around the tire, 1/2 inch. About 3/10 in the diameter of the tire. The circumference is a half-inch. Now, these guys are used to bias ply tires where they can change the pressure. Say 3 pounds, 4 pounds, sometimes even 1 or 2 pounds. Change the diameter, change the stagger, make them handle differently. Today, they have to work everything else around the given stagger that they have.
So Alan Kulwicki being chased down by the Daytona 500 winner, Davey Allison, as he tries to close in on that 7 car. Nice fight at the front of the field.
I really don't think Davey is trying to catch or pass Alan Kulwicki right now. I think it's a simple matter that he knows it's an awful long race. He already knows that some guys have been having a few problems in the tire department. So I think he's just going to use as much draft as he can, let Kulwicki help pull him along.
There they are, first and second place. Davey Allison, of course, became the 500 winner, just like his father before him. Davey Allison following his father's footsteps.
Winning the Daytona 500 is the best win that we've ever achieved, but finishing second to my dad in the 1988 Daytona 500 is by far and always will be my fondest memory in this business.
So there's Davey Allison running in second place, started 25th and carved his way up through the field.
Sometimes that shows you how unimportant qualifying is, because everybody wonders how Davey could be 25th in qualification, get back up to second. We all know he's a fast race driver and a good car, but it has to do with problems that they have during practice, and they don't have all that much time in qualifications anyway.
So they fight at the front of the field. Kulwicki chased by Davey Allison. As we'll be back after this message and a word from your ABC stations.
One oil filter traps 80% more dirt than the leading competitor. Clearly, that's Motorcraft. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
Hey, Sleeping Beauty, wake up. Is Prince Charming coming? No, but the new boss may be. Better revive with Vivarin. Vivarin? It wakes me up and it's safe as coffee.
Great proposal, Stacy. Really alert.
Revive with Vivarin.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Massaging sports cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no odor. Why sports cream? Because it works.
Athlete's Foot. Every year, over 28 million Americans get it. Try NP27. Its doctor-recommended ingredient stops burning and itching fast. NP27. Nothing's a better cure for Athlete's Foot.
Sunday, America's Funniest Hour brings you the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. A sporting good time is in the can on America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by America's Funniest People Sunday.
Owning a John Deere tricycler mulching mower is good for the environment. But at John Deere, we happen to know about a few other things in the environment. So when your grass grows too long to mulch,
after 4 straight days of rain, tomorrow's forecast, sunshine.
you can change your tricycler into a rear beggar and collect your clippings. The John Deere tricycler mower. It's as changeable as the weather.
If you drive a stick shift, you probably make over 70,000 shifts a year. Sooner or later, you'll experience some kind of problem. Will it be a big problem or a small one? It takes a trained technician to know. At AMCO Centers, they've serviced enough stick shifts to distinguish between the two. Half the sticks they service only need clutch work, not a new transmission. Next time you throw a shift that doesn't feel just right, come to AMCO. Don't play games with your transmission. AMCO, AA, MCO.
Watch the Lotto drawing Wednesday during 13 News at 11.
In Atlanta for the Motorcraft 500, Davey Allison continues to challenge Alan Kulwicki on the last straightaway. He pulled up almost alongside, and right now he's stuck right on Kulwicki's rear bumper. They move to the backside of this 1.5 mile high bank super speedway.
They swapped crews. A little bit ago, Kulwicki was running higher up there, and Allison was running on the bottom. They switched. Kulwicki went to the bottom. Davey Allison went up on top.
It's all a product of the tires changing, getting hot and getting cold. And also where the other guy runs, isn't it, Benny?
Well, they've also been running through traffic for the past couple of laps as they begin to pull away from the rest of the field with 75 laps complete.
Well, there's no doubt those two cars are probably the best two handling right at the moment. But often this changes as the race goes on. Kulwicki's been good since the start. Davey has really come on strong because he came all the way back from 25th place.
Just came around the 66 car, Chad Little, now back on the front stretch. But there's a concern over in the pit area. Let's get this update from Jack.
Well, Paul, there's actually two concerns. The first and most important involves tires. NASCAR is informing each and every one of the crew chiefs down pit road that on lap 85, they will put out a caution so that crew chiefs can check the left rear tire. But by the same token, they are also concerned about the weather because the weather is not good right now. We're having intermittent sprinkles, and we could have some weather coming into the Atlanta Raceway that could put a halt to some racing for a while.
Well, let's hope not. Remember last year, this race on Sunday got started, then the rains came, and they had to finish the race with Kenny Schrader winning it on Monday. Davey Allison continues his pursuit of the lead.
As we watch the two guys in front, Darrell Waltrip has moved back up to third place. He fell back. He's now back up to third spot.
But still, he has a little distance to make up before he can do battle with these two. Benny, how would you feel? Do you think that they're going to give the drivers all the information on the radio about those tires, or is that something you wouldn't want to worry about?
No, I think they're giving them all the information they possibly need.
Yeah, you really have to. The driver has to know everything that might happen. I think it shows that NASCAR is really a nice, concerned organization because they are saying, like, for example, a pit stop at 85, or yellow at 85 laps.
Darrell Waltrip slowing down now as a 17 car comes off the pace. Davey Allison, using the traffic, begins a charge inside on Kulwicki while Waltrip slows down. And here comes Allison down low, working the low groove on the high bank.
Oh, hold it, David. Don't push up too far because there's someone there.
Side by side on the front stretch. Still a little traffic just ahead. Kulwicki maintains the position.
Now, Davey backed off earlier than he had to because he saw that traffic was going to get him right in the middle of the turn. So he's better off to lay back and get another run at Alan Kulwicki.
Now they've got Bobby Hamilton right directly in front of him. Are they going to go split the guy?
I think Kulwicki was looking at that for a second. Now they both decide to go low as Bobby Hamilton comes a little high.
Now, Davey's got him blocked. There's nothing that Kulwicki can do. He just happened to come out wrong on the shuffle of the cars ahead of him.
There comes Darrell Waltrip. We mentioned he slowed down. He is now on the pit road.
And Bobby Hamilton is racing these guys hard. The reason, there's going to be a caution flag in just 5 laps. He needs to stay in front of these two guys if he can. But we can see he can't.
So Bobby Hamilton now as Kulwicki comes underneath him. And Allen really had to come down on the brakes there. That took some of his momentum away when he got up behind Bobby Hamilton. And Davey Allison takes the lead. We're looking at Waltrip's car. There it is. The hood is up. And that's not a very good sign at all.
And everybody's kind of slowed down, not hurrying, so it looks like he's probably broken an engine. When they're going that slow, that's a bad sign.
Darrell Waltrip with 2 magnificent charges here today. Now they lower the hood on that car, and they're shaking their heads. I don't think they're going to try to put it back into competition.
They're pushing it backwards and pushing it into the garage area. At the end of the day for Darrell Waltrip, Paul.
There's Davey Allison out in front of Kulwicki. Let's get an update on Darrell Waltrip now, Gary.
Jeff Hammond is alongside. What proved to be the problem, Jeff?
Don't really know for sure, Gary. Just called in and said all of a sudden the red light come on, the oil pressure gauge. It lost oil pressure. We came in and we checked everything. Oil pump belt's on. Motor feels like it's kind of tightened up, but we may have stripped a gear internally on the oil pump, so we're going to take it down to the garage area and see if we might be able to put it back together, and hopefully we hadn't hurt anything internally. We just don't know yet.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you see Darrell. He's not very happy.
These engines are, Paul, turn 8,300 RPMs. Boy, if you lose that oil pressure, you're going to hurt something immediately inside.
Doesn't take very long. But if it's just in the pump, then maybe, in fact, they can get something done back at the front of the field. Davey Allison. Now begins to pull a bit away, and is running alone now after his pass of Alan Kulwicki. That lap down car of Mass separates Kulwicki from Allison.
And since Darrell Waltrip had the engine problem, fell out of the race, Harry Gant has moved into third spot in his Oldsmobile. As you said, he has been consistent this year, as consistent as anyone. He's a car to be reckoned with today.
What about that wonderful string of wins he pulled off last year in the fall? They call him Mr. September. Win after win. Boy, it was great.
Benny, maybe that's a good sign for us. The older you get, the faster you get, because Harry Gant is definitely faster than he used to be.
But I don't want to drive a race car. I don't want to. I'll be the fastest at the airport or fastest at the booth, but not in a race car.
Davey Allison, the Daytona 500 winner. Is this shades of Daytona again?
Caution flag is out.
As the caution comes out, Davey slows it down.
This is lap 85, as they told us in the pits. I think Jack Arute told us just a moment ago. There is a caution flag to make sure that these left rear tires are going to stay on these cars.
Now, Benny, let's tell the people again, this is a NASCAR yellow. This is a deal for safety. Les Richter's decided they must take a look at these tires because they really don't want the accidents. That doesn't make good racing.
So NASCAR makes the decision, warns everybody, and then brings the caution out. The caution car in front of Davey Allison, the leader of the race, here at 85 laps, 328 laps, the scheduled distance to make up the 500 miles as they race here for a purse of $753,000. This will give the crews a chance to take a look at those cars, look at the tires. Now, what would their options be, Benny?
Well, right now, if there's only isolated instances, if only a car or two has a left rear tire bad, then they would probably just run green flag and let those guys work it out. But if everyone has a left rear tire, then we'll find out about the next option.
And, of course, as soon as they went yellow, they also opened the pits, and that gave Davey Allison and the rest, the leaders of this race, a chance to come down. And now the crews will start to take a hard look. At the same time, as long as you got the car there, it only takes one guy to look at the tire. The rest of them can go to work.
And we got to keep in mind, what they're doing now is going to take the tires off. Even if they didn't need them, they're going to look at them. This race is 328 laps long. It's only 85 laps into it right now. What they see from the tires will have to do with how their game plans go the rest of the race, Paul.
Allison comes out and gets out just ahead of Alan Kulwicki.
Harry again has his car moving, so I guess he will come out in third spot. He does, so the cars come out on the racetrack exactly the way they went in.
And, of course, under the caution, nobody's really coming out hot. And now these crews will have to go to work among themselves and also with the tire engineers to make sure that they have something that's workable to the end of the run.
So we talk about how they used to do it and how they do it. Now, you notice when they come out now, they don't smoke their tires down the pit lane. They must go a certain speed. The pits are blocked off in segments. There's lines across them. Les Richter and Dick Beatty said over there with stopwatches. They use these things a little bit like the VASCAR speed traps on the highways, and they clock and see how fast the guys are going, and they do it randomly. So the guys could get caught. They don't want to take a chance on it, so all the racing out of the pits is ended.
Richter and Beatty are NASCAR officials, along with the group that keeps good track of this race and keeps them under control. Let's go down to Alan Kulwicki's pit. Here's Jack.
Well, Paul Andrews has just completed talking to the Goodyear Racing tire engineer. These are the tires that came off of Alan Kulwicki's car. And, Paul, what do they look like?
They look real good. They look good. I guess we got some rubber on the track, you know, and we told Alan about it also. He probably took care of the car a little bit better. Hooters Ford's running real good today. You know, we led a lot of laps. We want to keep leading some more. We don't want no problems. NASCAR don't want no problems. They done a good call by having that pit stop. That was good.
When you say Alan takes a little better care of the car because he knows he's got a tire problem, what can he do?
Well, just maybe drove a little different. Knowing there was a problem, knowing where the problem was. That's, you know, just kind of in his mind, and maybe drive in just a little easier or something like that, or come off a little easier. I think we're going to be fine.
Let's check in with Gary Gerald and see how the second place car's tires are.
Larry McReynolds is talking with his driver, Davey Allison, right now. They've come to the backside of the pit area. They've taken a very close look at the tires. As soon as he's off the radio, we'll try to get a word with Larry to see what their findings have been. To our untrained eye, it looked like they were in pretty good shape, both of the tires that came off the rear. Larry, can you tell us about your assessment on those tires?
Well, we looked at them. You know, that was stickers when we put them on. They was new tires. There's been a lot of teams blistering tires. We went scuffs when we started the race and went to stickers. both sets has looked good, so that tells us hopefully the car's working pretty good. You know, this team's tearing up some left rears, which means car's got a bad push in it.
That gets everybody more than a little apprehensive, doesn't it?
It really does. You know, they're out there running awfully fast, and you have to let your driver know that their tires are blistering. That way, if he feels anything that's unusual, you know, I got to get back.
All right, he's on his way. Paul?
Well, Benny Parsons, you've been watching some of the other pits. We have 2 good reports. How do you think the rest of pit road's looking?
Well, it looked like the 22 car once again took a blister tire off. I'm not sure. It looked like maybe it was just some oil or something on the car, but it looked like a dark spot. I did see Kulwicki make a chassis adjustment on his car, but his tires was good. So I think that the tires are probably isolated instances.
Well, Jack Arute is right now down in Sterling Marlin pit, the 22 car, Jack.
And Benny Parsons, you're absolutely correct. He did blister a tire, but remember, Benny, they are using the severe camber on the back of the car, you know, in the rear end area. So that was the concern they had. That's why his teammate, Bill Elliott, went the other way in a different gearing. So they expected some severe blistering, and that's what they're getting.
And Benny, that's one of the advantages of having a 2-car team, is that you can have 2 entirely different setups and hope that one of them is correct.
Well, Bill Elliott looked like he made the right decision as far as durability is concerned, but Elliott's car is not running certainly the way it has the first 3 races. These 2 cars, the 28, the 7, the 33, that's the cars that are running well today.
Field back lined up as we go green again.
So often we see as the race progresses, the guys change them. Bill Elliott may come back up and go fast again.
So back under the green flag after a caution period to check those tires. And Davey Allison, the 8th straight race that Davey has led at least 1 lap. Who holds the all-time record? Bobby Allison. He led 39 straight races during 1971 and 72. Right now it's son Davey out in front. Gant sits in 3rd place. Kulwicki trying to overhaul Allison.
And he's trying to pass Davey. He's trying to get alongside, going down in turn 1, backs off, can't make the pass.
They've been running some laps well above 170 miles an hour. Up toward 171. Average speed of the race with the cautions down to 147.9. And Harry Gant challenges Kulwicki. Bodine's there as well.
And Dave Marcus on the inside. I think he's going to be a problem for Harry Gant as they come off the corner.
Dave Marcus actually runs in 33rd place. A lap behind the leaders.
Ford against Ford. It's always interesting when you see them line up like that. Who has the best engine?
On board now with Jeff Bodine as he's just behind Kulwicki. And by the way, Terry Labonte's begun to move back up. He was just behind Bodine just a couple of seconds ago, so he should be challenging at any moment as Bodine tries to make up the distance. You ride with the 3rd place.
But he can't close up on these front 2 cars. 28 cars a leader. Davey Allison, the orange car directly in front of Jeff Bodine. Alan Kulwicki, 2nd place. We're inside the 3rd place car.
Let's ride with this just a while as Kulwicki comes a little bit lower. Onto the backstretch now. The cars flatten out. Come up to top speed here. And back at the front, there's Allison and Kulwicki. Again, 2 different lines as Kulwicki comes down low and comes up behind Allison on the front stretch.
Now they all have new tires on, Paul, so they're going to want to take it a little bit easy for a few laps, not drift the cars too much, because if a tire's going to give problems, its most likely time is when it's brand new.
So the fight continues, and most of the day it's been right here at the front of the field. Bodine in 3rd, Labonte 4th, Gant 5th. In 6th is Mark Martin. Dick Trickle runs in 7th. Kyle Petty is 8th. Thirteenth place car, Bill Elliott. Michael Waldrop up ahead. But let's get an update on Bill. Here's Jack.
I'm with Tim Brewer, who calls the shots in the Junior Johnson pit for Bill Elliott. And you don't have tire problems.
No, the tires, you know, we don't have any problem with those, Jack. It's just one of those deals right now where we made a lot of changes this morning. We kind of lost a cambered housing we had. You know, had to do some drastic changes. Right now, we're just trying to get the thing adjusted to where Bill can hopefully be pretty good here at the end.
We've talked about the fact that he wants to be able to come up out of the hole out of turn number 2 and turn number 4 and not go as hard into the corners.
Well, you know, that's Bill's style. You know, he's awful good with a car. He don't really try to abuse the tires. And right now, Jack, we're just trying to hang on to where we can adjust our car to be really good at the end.
Benny Parsons, I would think maybe they hope that the track comes to them.
We can see how high he is on the racetrack. This is Bill Elliott. We're inside with him. Michael Waltrip right in front of him in the Pennzoil Pontiac. Michael taking the low group. Bill Elliott up high. We hear Bill backing off the gas. Still off the gas. Now back on the throttle.
That's off the throttle a long time. And of course, the more throttle you can use in the turns, the faster you go down the straightaways. But he's gaining on Michael right there, and he's using a lot of the drafting to get up on him. When you get that close, anybody gets a pretty good draft.
Still at the front, though, it's Davey Allison. Alan Kulwicki chases. Jeff Bodine sits in third.
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles, new ultra-performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Ask anyone who's driven a Ford lately, like the people from Car and Driver, who've named Taurus SHO one of their 10 best. The people from Motor Trend, who named Explorer the best buy in its class. Or any one of the thousands of people who've made Escort the best-selling small car in America. Have you driven a Ford lately? It's more than just a question. It's an answer.
I drive a race car for a living. I depend on the parts and pieces in my car. And I feel so confident knowing that Pennzoil is protecting the moving parts inside of my engine. Pennzoil's quality and protection give me the confidence I need to do my job without second thought. I've never had a problem with viscosity breakdown using Pennzoil. Their motor oil is the best against viscosity breakdown. That's why I have the confidence to use it on the street and in my race car.
Pennzoil, performance, protection, quality.
Your breakfast, sir.
This new Kellogg's Frosted Bran is quite sensible. Crispy flakes with whole wheat and bran, lightly frosted for a taste that's delicious. I love it. I love it. Love, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I love it. And new Kellogg's Frosted Bran has less sugar than you'd imagine, but the taste, it's out of...
We've got to stop serving this. New Kellogg's Frosted Bran, wildly delicious, sensibly good.
The Motorcraft 500, brought to you by Ford Motorcraft. Quality parts for quality cars from Ford. By Mellow Yellow and Kyle Petty, there's nothing mellow about them. And by Kellogg, proud sponsor of our 1992 U.S. Olympic team.
We're back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Motorcraft 500. 328 laps of scheduled distance, 102 are complete. 500 miles. Davey Allison, the winner at the Daytona 500, is out in front of Alan Kulwicki. In third place is Harry Gant. Jeff Bodine sits in fourth. Fifth place is Mark Martin, the pole sitter on this run. The interval first to second, just at 1.2 seconds. But it seems for the past several laps that Kulwicki has been satisfied to sit back and watch Davey Allison and find out exactly how the cars are performing and perhaps also try and conserve some of the tires. As we look down through the entire lineup now at lap 100.
Davey Allison, Alan Kulwicki are front two. There we see Jeff Bodine, Terry Labonte, Hut Strickland, Kyle Petty in ninth, and Dale Jarrett in 10th.
Morgan Shepherd, time winner here. Richard Petty moves up from 32nd into 12th, so he's having a great day.
We see Earnhardt started 7th, back in 18th, followed by Rusty Wallace, Derek Cope.
Saw Charlie Glotz back there a moment ago. He's competed here in 1960. That was the year this track was built.
All these cars are one lap down. Bobby Hillin, Stanley Smith, Buddy Baker. Dorsey Schrader 2 laps down, along with Ernie Irvin's car driven today by Bobby Labonte in 35th spot.
There's the completion of all the cars currently running. We have 3 out of the run. Darrell Waltrip, Bob Chack, who actually started the car for Dave Mader III, and Ken Schrader with his accident. Waltrip, the engine let go, though there was an indication they were going to try to get that car back into the fight. So that's the rundown of the full field. We are now 105 laps deep. The leader, Allison.
And Harry Gant just blew by Alan Kulwicki down in 1 and 2 and took over that second spot. So Harry Gant now on the move. Maybe the quickest car on the racetrack.
Tell you what, this is definitely a man to watch this season. I think Gant is having a good time. That car is running very well. You keep talking about the domination of the Ford. That Oldsmobile has been very powerful.
People might have thought he was an accident last year, but Paul, he's not an accident. That Harry Gant is on the move.
Well, Davey Allison is in the lead, back in 16th place, moving down below Michael Waltrip in the 30 car. That's the 3 car of Dale Earnhardt. Started 7th, back to 17th place, 16th now. Boy, he caught a break on that caution because he was running right in front of the leaders, and the caution kept him on the leader lap. So Earnhardt, former winner here, couple of wins for Earnhardt. Boy, he loves this track.
It's a long time since we've seen Dale have this many problems. He just hasn't gained much. Watch how high. Well, the one time I've been watching, now he's running low. Every lap up till now, I've been sitting telling you and Benny how high he's been running, almost touching the walls in the corners.
But you know, Bobby, a couple of laps ago, he moved down on the bottom of the racetrack, and his speed has picked up dramatically down lower.
He's not handling good, and he's trying to grab that dry pavement where there's no rubber down there. He was running so high a little while ago, Benny, I really thought he was going to scrub the wall a couple of times.
He was called the Dominator. I'm sure he will be again. So as Earnhardt works his way around, remember in 1980, it was Dale's second career win, his first on a super speedway here in Atlanta. Let's take a look. The final lap of that race. Little different car. Royal blue and yellow instead of the black of today.
That was owned by the young man out of California, Rod Osterlund.
Dale Earnhardt in 1980, the winner at Atlanta.
Racing, I can't explain it. You're kind of in a limbo zone. Time's different, speed's different. Everything works different. It sounds totally cosmic, believe me. It's out there somewhere.
Kyle Petty and Mellow Yellow. There's nothing mellow about them.
Hey, use a spark plug that's tested to fire clean for 30,000 miles. Motorcraft. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford. One oil filter traps 80% more dirt than the leading competitor. Clearly, that's Motorcraft. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
I'm a big man.
Why do so many men stick with Bic?
I'm a big man.
Because there's a Bic for every beard. Bic Regular, a great shave at a great price.
I'm a big man.
Bic Sensitive, Bic Babies, tender skin. Bic Metal, slim head, total control.
Yeah, I'm a big man. I'm a big man.
Regular, sensitive, metal.
I'm a big man.
Now, when life turns up the heat.
Hello?
Yeah, hi. I'm Jeff Green.
Can't wait to meet you.
There's Degree Antiperspirant. Degree's body heat activated to release extra protection.
1 more minute.
Okay.
Every time your body heat rises, Degree turns on that extra protection. So when you really need it, Degree keeps you fresher, drier.
Jeff? Hi.
Hi.
Degree, your body heat turns it on.
The city, Cleveland, the event, the Cleveland Open. Who will be there? The usual suspects. Why? It's a crime to miss it. Saturday on ABC Sports.
Davey Allison continues to overhaul this field. He just went around Dorsey Schrader, now comes high on Chad Little as he puts them both yet another lap down. and he is having a spectacular run. And back in the field, there's Richard Petty, the famous number 43, runs in 13th place. But that's a substantial increase from where he started in 32nd. His finishes thus far this season, a 16th, a 16th, and a 21st. He still keeps that towel tightly in his teeth, though now it hangs out from in front of that full face helmet that he wears to help circulate a little better air supply, keep the carbon monoxide away from him.
That's just a damp towel, something for him to chew on, keep some moisture in his mouth. You see him going down that corner. We saw him look up just a moment ago. There he looks up to see who's behind him. There we see Earnhardt on the inside, and look, Richard Petty still doesn't wear gloves inside that race car.
Nope, just hunkered up on that wheel there. He is, without a question, a legend. His 34 years behind the wheel, he scored the most victories in the Winston Cup, over 1,100 races, 200 wins. When he retires, will there be a new face at Petty Racing?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough on me to turn loose of what I've been doing for 34 years. You know what I mean? And as far as driving, I can always tell somebody else what they do wrong because I've been out there and see what's going on. So I'm going to have to control myself from that standpoint. And plus, going from, like you say, a Petty driving the car to another Petty would be too much comparison. And I don't want to get into that, and Kyle doesn't want to get into that. But if we could get someone else to drive the car for a couple of years and do pretty good with that, then, you know, then if Kyle did come back, then he'd come back as his own man.
So what will happen at Petty Enterprises when he moves from driver to owner and boss at the end of this year? Here are two great champions, Petty in the 43 car high, 7 Winston Cup wins, and Earnhardt, the 3 car, as they continue to battle, now with 5 Winston Cups. And they fight for 13th place.
I'm telling you, Earnhardt, when he started running the bottom of the racetrack, has really mowed down the traffic. He has moved up. Let's see, he's moved up to the 14th spot, picked up 4 spots in the last 10 laps.
That seems to be working for him. We heard Richard. Now, what about Kyle Petty? Tried to follow the racing path by driving for his father. Will he be back at Petty Enterprises?
I think family ties are a whole lot stronger than any money is. And blood's thicker than water, you know that. And, you know, I think eventually there will come a time when I drive for Petty Enterprises. And I drive for Richard Petty. When I drove for him before, I was 18 or 19 years old and knew absolutely everything there was to know in the world. So our personalities clashed pretty heavy when I worked for him before. But like I say, after over a period of years, I've gained a whole lot more respect for what he knows and his ability. So I could probably work with him a little bit better now. But the big question is, when will Richard Petty ever get out of a race car? You know, God only knows when that'll be. And I'm not sure when that time comes that I'll be the next driver. I would hate to be the next driver to follow Richard Petty in the Petty Enterprises.
So at least Kyle and Richard agree on one thing. Kyle doesn't want to necessarily be the next guy at Petty Enterprises.
I thought that was great that Kyle admitted he knew everything when he was 18 years old.
Not the experience of too many fathers and sons, is it? No, just all of them. Davey Allison is still the leader. We'll be back after this message and a word from your ABC stations.
After my heart attack, my doctor prescribed a regimen of exercise, eating right, and Therapy Bear enteric aspirin. Enteric means it's safety coated so it doesn't dissolve till it's past your stomach.
Therapy Bear enteric aspirin. Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
Ford trucks, the best never rest.
Yeah, sure, Ranger's the best-selling compact pickup, but how did it get there? Was it toughness? It is the best-built American compact pickup. How about technology? Push-button four-wheel drive, 4-liter power. Ranger offers both. Plus style and comfort. You know what? It's more than a sales leader. It's a value leader.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
Sunday, it's Peter Falk in an all-new Colombo.
Somebody what? Kidnapped her. Suppose it was somebody at the wedding. Time is everything.
Peter Falk in an all-new adventure, Colombo, No Time to Die, Sunday.
When it comes to value, think Ford first. No one, foreign or domestic, can beat Ford Ranger for gas mileage. Right now, save almost $2,700 on a new Ranger. Think Ford first. Save $2,500 on a new F-150, the #1 selling vehicle in America, car or truck. 5 of the 10 best-selling cars and trucks in America are Fords. Hurry, see your Tidewater Ford dealer by March 31st. And remember, for value, think Ford first.
And now let's play Name That Brand Name. Sir, can you tell us the name of the set of taps in 2 seconds? Ready? 1, 2. Sorry.
If the brand names your home improvement store carries aren't exactly on the tip of your tongue...
HQ to the rescue.
With lightweight Hunter ceiling fans at HQ's low warehouse price. And GTE Sylvania light bulbs in over 100 different types. With over 30,000 quality and brand name items to choose from.
HQ to the rescue.
Hampton Roads complete news and weather.
Weekdays at 6.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Motorcraft 500, you watch a battle for third place as Dick Trickle has been climbing all over the back of Alan Kulwicki in a great little fight. Trickle's been Mr. Consistency here today. So, by the way, has Harry Gant, who runs in second place behind this man, the leader, the 28 car, and that is none other than Davey Allison, the winner at the Daytona 500, who's having a splendid day. Let's see if we can get an idea as we see Allison go into the corner. And he runs alone. And here comes Trickle inside of Kulwicki. Nice little fight here. Boy, they've been at one another for the past 4 or 5 laps.
They have been, but Trickle can't make the pass.
He can get there, but he can't seem to make it too easy. But look at him get up alongside. That's really good racing.
Burns up a lot of energy through the corner, but boy, look at that. Now can he stay there?
That's going into the turn. That's the back-off period that they have. The easiest place to pass, or the easiest time, I should say.
Caution flag is out.
Car brushed against the wall as the caution comes out, and they come back to the line with Trickle getting there ahead of Kulwicki in that fight for third place. Allison's still the leader, and the report is that Earnhardt may have brushed the wall.
I don't see Earnhardt on the racetrack.
Doyle Ford with the caution flag, and there is Earnhardt. Let's take a look at that car.
There's something that somebody's tire laying on the racetrack, or a part of somebody's tire. That's the tread that blew off. That's what happens, Paul. I was telling you about earlier. It happens when they put too much pressure in sometimes. It explodes the outer part of the tire.
We can see the 41 car was going down pit road, and part of that tire has went up and hit. We can see some damage on the right front. That tire that we saw hit that 41 car. There's damage to the right side of this Kellogg's car.
Chad Little, now you got to remember when these tires, if they do come apart, there's a lot of energy involved. And it's not the safest thing in the world, either for the car that has the tire, but also the cars that are around it. Let's go down to Jack.
Well, Paul, it actually was Dale Earnhardt who blew a tire. The pieces came off, and they actually had started to tear out the bodywork on his car as well. So this is a good stop, this caution, because they were going to bring out the caution, NASCAR was, on lap 135 to again check the tires. Leaders are in the pits. They're going to get their service. Let's go back up to you.
So Davey Allison comes in. Left side change on the tires for the leader of the race. And he's away.
Wow, he is already moving down pit road. No one else on pit road. Now finally Alan Kulwicki starts to move.
The tread of that tire comes off the track. Safety crew's right there.
Fast pit stop for Davey Allison and crew.
Boy, between the racetrack and the pits, they've really got this thing figured out.
They have. Larry McReynolds, we saw just a moment ago in his interview, he went with Davey Allison last year about the 1st of May. Since then, the 28 car, that just seemed to make the difference that 28 car needed was Larry McReynolds.
Well, you know, a team is only as good as its worst member, Benny, and often that's what happens. Davey really has a good one now.
Put him in victory lane, the Daytona 500. Put him well on his way here today. And Richard Petty makes his stop and comes away. We said he is retiring at the end of this year to take over Petty Enterprises. He's a man that, without question, has been a legend in motorsports.
Through 3 decades of wide world of sports, one athlete has embodied both the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
He moves right, look out!
flag is out, and Richard Petty has won the Daytona 500. 1 lap to go.
I've never seen such a good close race as this. Look how close they are. Richard Petty, a routine pit stop. No, the car bursts into flames. Petty is on fire.
In 1962, ABC first met the man named Petty.
And here was the car spinning right down in front of us. That's 43. That's Dick Petty of Randall, North Carolina, in a 62 Plymouth.
He was Dick Petty then, but soon would earn the title of King.
Can't get back in the race. No, I missed the break. Yeah, running pretty good. Yeah, that's true. How's the track? Very fast. Fast. In 23 and a half years of doing racing for ABC, Richard Petty never turned me down for an interview and never said come back later.
By 1969, Richard Petty was already NASCAR's winningest driver, but all his races did not end in victory lane.
But there's been a crash on the home stretch. This could be a very bad accident to one of the best-known race drivers in the world.
Sometimes victory eluded him only by inches.
They did hit. He crashes into the wall. Will he come across the start-finish line? He's going to win the race. He's going to win it spinning. No, he did not make it. He is less than 100 yards from it. Here comes Pearson. Pearson's going to win it.
By the end of his second decade of racing, Richard Petty owned a host of NASCAR records. He was the king of his racing realm. And in 1984, President Ronald Reagan made the pilgrimage to Petty's court to witness history.
Down the front straight. Here they are, Sam. They will come across the yellow line just about together, but Petty had the lead. Richard Petty has won the 200th race of his incomparable career.
Keith Jackson covered many of Petty's races.
He's done everything for his sport that a man could do, and he leaves it with great dignity and everybody liking him. And when you can walk out that way, baby, that ain't bad.
I would like people to look at me that here was a man that enjoyed what he did, and what he accomplished, and really wanted to do that, and was able to do what he set out to do. And again, enjoyed every minute of it. So, you know, it's not that I want to set records. I didn't set out to set records and all that stuff. So that part of it just happened to come. You know, everybody looks at me a little bit different, so everybody's going to remember me a little bit different. So it's hard for me to tell you how you're supposed to remember me.
Many men aspire to greatness, but few possess the intensity, commitment, and wisdom to attain it. Richard Petty's road to immortality has been all that and a source of joy in athletic excellence.
Richard Petty, a man who wears the crown of champion so well, now runs in 16th as we come back to the green flag. And Harry Gant closes on Davey Allison. 131 laps complete as we come out of the caution period. But Allison is still so very, very strong here, both on the track and in the pits. A blistering fast stop during that last caution and puts him right back in the lead.
There's no doubt it is a team effort, as Bobby Unser mentioned just a moment ago. The team they win, they lose races, and Davey Allison and the 33 car, both these cars have two of the strongest teams in NASCAR.
Well, that Harry Gant is coming on strong, Benny. He's really pushing Davey hard. Still early in the race. Gant usually, it seems to me, likes to wait till a little bit later in the race to come on with his customary really strong effort, but he's doing it right now. The race is not even halfway over.
As Gant challenges Allison, Trickle still runs in third place. Kyle Petty, with the caution, moved up into fourth. Jeff Bodine is fifth. Keep an eye on that 33 car. You're going to see a lot of it this season. Harry Gant, Allison and Gant first and second on the track, and first and second in the points. Let's go to Gant's pit. Here's Jack.
Well, Paul, they've radioed to Harry Gant to go ahead and turn it up. Now, remember we had the first check on tires on lap 85? They found a blistered right front. So they backed off a little bit, changed the wedge, and they wanted to see what the tire wear was going to do. They've seen it now, and they feel that they can go back and race hard.
What they would do in a case like that, Paul, is they changed the wedge, meaning they took a little bit of weight off the right front and the left rear, so it wouldn't push so much. And that's what he's looking like now. They've definitely picked up a little bit more speed, because this is the only guy for a long time that's really been able to push Davey Allison. And he's pushing him hard. He works the bottom, he works above him, he works everywhere, and pretty soon, we can just watch. He's going to attempt to pass.
Davey Allison with Gant packed right there. After now, they tell Gant that everything's fine and you can go to work on it. Things have looked fine on board Allison for most of the day.
But right now, every time he looks in the rearview mirror at Davey Allison, he sees Harry Gant. And pretty soon that begins to wear on you. You start trying different grooves, going in harder, getting on it harder. And when you do that, you mess up your timing, your momentum. Harry Gant will then pass it.
And especially, Benny, where your own car, there's the pass that we were talking about that Gant was going to attempt. It looks like he might go on by.
Gant forces inside, but can they both hold on?
That's at one track, but you can really run two abreast all the way around.
Gant goes down to the bottom, and Harry Gant picks up the lead as they come onto the home stretch. Allison back to second place. 52-year-old Harry Gant is out in front. Remember that wonderful streak that Gant ripped off last fall? And look at him now as he begins to motor away. Boy, when they tell him to turn the wick up, he takes it serious.
This is amazing. Just look, already 3-4 car lengths on Davey Allison. And just a few laps ago, no one could keep up with Davey Allison.
And it's all being done with handling and driving. It really isn't done with horsepower. You can see that.
Take a look at this. Drivers in the field over 50. The leader, Harry Gant, 52. Third place, Dick Trickle is 50. Tell me age makes a difference. I think, Benny, you and Bobby both ought to get back in a car.
That's okay. Well, you don't like us being up here with you?
Well, no, I enjoy it, but I enjoy watching both of you a whole lot more.
Well, I think they ought to have a senior steward. Then we'll get Benny off the seat there and get him going.
I don't know if I can race with these. Look at these guys over 50 years old and still doing that great job. Harry Gant just signed a new 3-year contract.
So you see the first 4 lined up there. Harry Gant, Davey Allison, Dick Trickle. Jeff Bodine runs in 4th.
No better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Speed Stick. It's 110% protection against wetness and odor that lasts all day. Start the morning with Speed Stick, the wide stick, for powerful 24-hour protection.
No better way to face the day. No better way to face the day.
Speed Stick, 110% protection.
Need a fresh start? Get the battery that's proven to start over 50,000 times. Motorcraft. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
We've added the leading cough suppressant to the proven cold relief of Alka-Seltzer Plus to relieve your cold and cough at the same time. New Alka-Seltzer Plus cold and cough medicine in the purple box. 2 kinds of relief from only 1 medicine.
This was me with dull gray hair. I looked washed up. Then I found a whole new way to make my gray look great.
Introducing a new kind of shampoo from the makers of Just for Men Hair Care called Great Looking Gray. Great Looking Gray does more than clean and condition. It gets rid of the dullness, even yellow buildup, brings out the real silver.
What a difference it makes.
New Great Looking Gray shampoo. And for stubborn yellow, new Great Looking Gray anti-yellow treatment.
Is this seat taken?
No, please.
So that's what you're eating? Too bad.
This is a whole grain cereal.
Yes, with sugar and preservatives.
Oh, and I suppose that you're
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain? It's made with pure whole grain.
Oh, really?
It's the only whole grain cereal without sugar or preservatives added.
The only one? I didn't know.
I know.
So what else should I know?
You have milk on your chin?
Kellogg's Nutri-Grain, as good as whole grain gets.
You don't get a 5-yard penalty for a mistake here. It can be quite severe.
3 dramatic decades of ABC Sports at the Indy 500 can be yours. The spectacular starts, the close-up pit stop action, the fantastic finishes, and much more. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. ABC's home video. Live and drive the Indy 500 is only $19.98 plus $3 shipping. Racing fans, order now. 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Back at Atlanta, it's the Olds and Harry Gant running out in front. There his finishes thus far this year. He's been fairly consistent, now leads this race. Remember, last September, he ripped off 4 in a row. He called him Mr. September. But for Harry, what was the biggest moment of that run?
I think the biggest thing I got out of it was compliments from other crew drivers and crew chiefs, how good the car was running. It made you feel real good. You know, they considered it. You know, they come to me, you know, like we'd won 2, and they said, you know, you're going to prove men to beat today. And I said, no, we probably not, you know. We did, and they'd say, well, you know, and we just kept it coming, and it was, but their confidence, I think, was the best.
So Harry Gant runs at the lead of this race. Let's get an update on him. Here's Jack.
Well, Paul, what makes that run by Mr. September even more incredible is the fact that he did it with one car that Richard Jackson constructed. And he said he found that what it did is it really liked the radial tire technology. Jackson had concentrated on things like bump steer and roll center. So what they did over the winter is they took all of that technology and built a brand new car that they unveiled at Daytona. This is their second run with it. They call it Lola. I asked why. He says, because like in the song, what Lola wants, Lola gets.
Jack, you've got your Jacksons mixed up. It was Leo Jackson owns that car. Richard is his brother who owns the one car.
One Jackson seems to be the same kind of Jackson to me because they both operate up there in Nashville, North Carolina. You're right, Benny.
And you know, I think the answer to this whole thing with Harry Gant is he's just going through a second childhood. I think he's going to make it till he's 80 years old.
Let's go back to the fight for 5th place. And who's there? Hut Strickland, 12 car.
Alan Kulwicki and Kyle Petty. Kulwicki, we saw up front leading the race, running in the top 3 most of the day. After this last pit stop, he's drifted back to the 6th place and seems to be hung there. Just can't seem to do too much about it.
Strickland's best career finish last year came second to Davey Allison at Michigan. Best finish here is 8th in 1989.
Just so everybody knows, how does a guy like Kulwicki go back this far when he was leading the race for such a long time? And it's because the track changes. The track changes constantly as the whole race goes on. And remember, the race is 328 laps long. So there'll be a lot of changes as we go through it. But the guy that figures it out the best, theoretically, should be the winner.
So Hut Strickland with a good run. Look at Kyle Petty there, the number 42 car. You heard from him just a few moments ago, who hopes he doesn't end up working at Petty Enterprises next year, but maybe in the future.
I got a story I got to tell you about Kyle Petty. Talk about going back to Petty Enterprises. They were working on the shop, built a new building back when Kyle was just a youngster, 7, 8 years old. They went to the racetrack. They poured the cement floor. It was still wet when Richard and the crew went to the racetrack. Kyle got his cousins out, 2 cousins and his sister Sharon. They round up all the dogs in the neighborhood and throw them out on this new concrete floor and wouldn't let them off the floor. Oh, made the awfulest mess you've ever seen. He said that's the maddest he ever saw, Richard Petty.
No wonder Kyle can't get a job at Penny Enterprises.
That's right.
Remember another thing about Kyle, too. He's given up his career in music, which was a very good one, for a full-time racing job. So that means he's got his head on straight now, or at least for the racing fans he does.
Well, I think he found that racing was his work and music was his relaxation, and it had, in fact, become work. So he said, I'm just going to go racing. The leader is Harry Gant. Davey Allison slid back to 2nd place.
You'd think the world would be nothing but a blur at this speed. But at 200 miles per hour, a lot of things become clear. Like what technology can make our cars perform better, our trucks tougher, and make them all safer for the street. Because at Ford, we want to stay ahead in more places than just the racetrack. Have you driven a Ford lately?
You're about to see how Goodyear is changing all-season driving right before your eyes. Introducing AquaTread, only from Goodyear. AquaTread's advanced design channels water out of your way for dependable all-season traction, especially in the rain when you may need it most. AquaTread, the newest reason why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
When you consider everything the mountains have to offer, it's not surprising why anyone would want to work up here. Come to think of it, it's not surprising why they'd want to hang around after work either.
I love Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. And I just know someone's going to find out.
What type of adult would come forward and admit to eating a kid's cereal?
I don't just love them, you see. It's more of a craving, a visceral sort of desire.
That sweet crunch in cold milk is a taste no adult can resist.
Honestly, I never even touched the stuff.
Yes, he does.
I'm sold. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
Brian Boitano, Debbie Thomas, and Scott Hamilton star in special performances. Plus, top male gymnasts go for the gold. All Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Back at the Motorcraft 500 in Atlanta, the 33 car, Harry Gant has 2 seconds over the second place. Davey Allison, after 150 laps, which was 4 laps ago, Gant at that time was the leader, and he was averaging 150.1 miles an hour. The point, 8 different lead changes, 3 cautions, 2 of those to make sure that the tires were working properly. They wanted to check the tires. Remaining in the race, 36 cars. Most notable among those out, Darrell Waltrip with a blown engine. Lap leaders thus far in the run. Boy, they've seesawed back and forth. And in this order, you don't see Gant's name. He was just carefully staying in there, waiting for the opportunity. And then finally, Harry Gant moved out in front at the 137th lap. Now at the 156th lap, approaching the halfway point. And Harry Gant. Now, you normally think that 4 car would be Ernie Irvan, but that's Bobby Labonte. Ernie was involved in an accident yesterday in his Grand National car, broke a collarbone. He took the green flag here, took the first lap so he could get the points, but then he climbed out of the car and let Bobby take over.
And Bobby has had absolutely no time in the car, no practice. He never turned the wheel until he got in it. So we expect the car doesn't fit him just perfectly, Paul.
Back looking at 5th place.
There's 4th, Jeff Bodine, the 15 car. That's 5th. Alan Kulwicki, a moment ago, or a few laps ago, he was back in 10th spot. He's now worked his way back up. He's in 5th. Right on the back bumper off 4th.
You know, another guy's been moving back is Earnhardt. He was the one with a bad tire brushed the wall, and he's been faster ever since. He's up running in 10th place now.
Earnhardt seems to have figured something out, because you're right. He's running better now than he has all day.
And he goes from running on the bottom of the track. Look at him now. He's back up to the top of the racetrack. Just a little while ago, we were showing him he was in the bottom of the track. He's having handling problems, and he's just not got it figured out yet, and I doubt that he's going to get it all figured out today.
But I tell you, he is a classic at finding that best way around the racetrack with a car that's not handling right. And you're right, Bobby. I don't think his car is handling as well as some of his other cars. But he's going to keep searching that racetrack, up, down, trying to find the spot that his car wants to run today.
He's one of those guys that doesn't know what the word quit means. He's about the most stubborn individual you can ever see, but he just equates out to one heck of a good race driver.
And ladies and gentlemen, that came from Bobby Unser when you're talking about stubborn. Now watch Earnhardt, because he's coming up on the back end of Terry Labonte, and this is a battle for 9th place.
And Labonte, who was so strong earlier in the race, now he's falling back. And Earnhardt was weak at the beginning. He's coming in front.
As I watched Labonte coming right off that turn, I saw a little smoke coming off his left rear tire. So I suspect that he might be having a little bit of a problem. That's really slowing down, Benny.
But look at that line that Earnhardt uses. Right around on the rim. In fact, a while ago, he was running up on the gray stuff.
Yeah, and I think he'll be there again pretty soon, Paul. The guy can really thread a needle. I can only remember one guy could run like that I mentioned earlier, and that's Richard Petty. Right up near the top and do it lap after lap.
Well, Earnhardt is spectacular. Started 7th, fell well back through the field. Now up to get around Labonte. Gant still in the front. Allison still 2nd. 3rd place is Dick Trickle. Having a nice little day. And here is 4th place. Jeff Bodine, the 15 car and the 7 car of Alan Kulwicki. And there's Hut Strickland. Got a glimpse of him as well.
He's in the 5th place car, number 12. Car owned by Bobby Allison. And we can see the camera, that thing on top of the 15 car. That's the camera that we sometimes see we call that the roof cam.
Yeah, what do the guys think about that camera? Do they like that? You get a good look at it there. It's sticking up on top.
They do like that camera.
Why? You think it's slow them down a little bit.
But they don't really, that really doesn't affect that car that much at this racetrack, but they love to go home and watch the tapes of the races. They love that camera shot, just like we do.
And just so the people know, too, that camera is only about the size of a pack of cigarettes, and it only weighs about that much. Technology has come a long ways in the camera department.
Talking about technology, you know how that operates. They send a signal from the car up to a helicopter that sends it back down to the television trucks. It goes up to a satellite that sends it to ABC, that then sends it out to you, probably using a couple other satellites. Now, right now, in that whole big link, the helicopters are down on their refuel, and so we'll watch them from the outside.
Are you sure we're seeing the camera from the same day, Paul?
You're either seeing it now or now.
Kulwicki can't do much with Jeff Bodine currently.
You know, they're talking in ongoing technology. They're talking now about, as we watch Dick Trickle, who runs in third place, they're talking about taking data out of the race car, sending it up through a satellite and back to the engine plant so they can watch it there during the race and tell you what's going on.
I see Bill France in that next booth over, the president of NASCAR. We're not going to have that for a long, long time, believe me.
Telemetry. That's what telemetry's all about. Just around the corner.
So Dick Trickle, boy, there's a guy over 1,000 wins. How many guys have driven 1,000 races?
And Bobby mentioned just at the top of the show a month ago, did not have a full-time ride for 1992. He was sitting on the sidelines, drove the Raymar car in Daytona, finished 5th, had a great run. After Daytona, they hired him to drive this car.
So Dick Trickle consistent in third place. There's the leader, Harry Gant, at the front of the field. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your ABC station.
Hey, use a spark plug that's tested to fire clean for 30,000 miles. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
If you're looking for a shampoo that's tough on dandruff, nothing works better than this. Head & Shoulders Intensive Treatment, with the most effective medicine you can buy without a prescription. There's no better treatment than Head & Shoulders Intensive Treatment. We dare you to have dandruff.
If I want to keep playing baseball, I'm going to have to keep working. There's no off-season anymore. Every day it's just me and a pile of iron. Or a bike I ride forever. And when I get sore, I take Advil. It's strong, it works, and I know it helps. And Advil's gentler on my stomach than aspirin. To last as long as I have, you got to stick with what works. That's why I use Advil.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Wednesday, it's an African adventure as young Indy goes on safari with Teddy Roosevelt to track a rare beast.
My name is Indy.
And explores the wild country with a new friend. The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, Wednesday.
Now, during deer season, John Deere's annual sale. You can get up to $400 off on lawn and garden tractors, or up to $150 off on one of our riding mowers, or up to $80 off on one of our mulching mowers. With 36 different mowers to choose from, there's no lawn too large or too small for a John Deere, even if some are a little hard to get to.
You may buy an extended warranty from your dealer, but you don't have to go back there if you've got transmission trouble. Your local AMCO center is authorized by most extended warranty companies to do the work. Why? They've got a lot at stake, and they know that half the cars serviced by AMCO wind up not needing a new transmission. Whether or not your car has an extended warranty, for prompt, reliable service, go where most warranty companies put their trust. Go to AMCO. AMCO, AA-MCO.
Jim Kincaid's Personal Perspective on 13 News at 5:30.
Harry Gant still leads the Motorcraft 500, and we have the word from the NASCAR officials now that very shortly they will go to the caution light again and give an opportunity for the crews to pick their cars in, bring the cars in. We have caution on the speedway right now, so this is going to give everybody an opportunity to come in, take a look at these tires again. Here's Doyle Ford. Really a really bright move by NASCAR. They got a condition they're not sure about. Slow them down. Let's check it every so often.
But you see, the 10 car Derek Cope was in front of Harry Gant when they got to the line, so he gets to make up a full mile and a half.
And again, it just shows you for this yellow how smart a guy like Les Richter is. He stepped up there and figures this out. He doesn't hurt the show, keeps the fans having a good show, keeps a lot of race cars in. The guys don't crash the cars with the tires going bad for whatever reason. I think it's really a feather in the hat for NASCAR.
And they don't take a chance on hurting some race car drivers. And that is a concern with NASCARs and with all the sanctioning bodies is their athletes.
When you can do that, Benny, and think about the fans at the same time, really shows the sport has grown a lot.
172 laps complete, so just a few laps ago we went past the 250-mile mark. Dave Marcus pulls up alongside Harry Gant in the 71 car. Everybody anxious to take a look at pit road as the leader Harry Gant peels off and his crew waits for him. Of course, they'll replenish everything they can while he is in the pits. There's the crew. And Harry keeps the speed limit. Boy, out in front, you don't want to make any mistakes. 55 miles an hour. He knows that. They don't have a speedometer in the car. He knows that because they run him through the pits right at the start. They set the speed. He looks at the tachometer for the gear he's in, knows that's 55. Don't do any more than that.
Boy, that's right. And I'm telling you, those NASCAR guys are really watching it. So the guys, it makes the pit stops orderly. And the whole reason for this, so the folks know, is to stop the accidents that they were having in the pit. And it looks like they've done a super job of that.
Going back to what we said at start, Bill Elliott. Is he going to dominate? Bill Elliott runs in 17th place coming into this caution. And by the way, he was only 5.5 seconds from being lapped by Harry Gant. 22.3 seconds Gant is in and out of the pits.
And Kyle Petty won the battle for second place. He comes out in second spot, and Davey Allison moves back to third. Dick Trickle fourth, Alan Kulwicki fifth.
Second time today, Kyle's looked pretty good coming out of the pits.
Kyle has had some great pit stops lately. There we see Davey.
Well, that feels good when a crew does that, too, doesn't it? They'll smile at one another and celebrate.
There's Kyle. Moved his Pontiac up in the second spot.
You know, we still see how important pit stops are. The guys that do the best are the guys that are in the front right now, and it's a lot easier to pass in the pits than it is on the racetrack.
So this caution, again, an opportunity to check the tires. They're still concerned about the radials here on the high banks, 24-degree banks at Atlanta.
What if you left all your worries behind? You grabbed the family, your skis, maybe a picnic lunch. What you'd have is freedom. Introducing the Freedom Machines from Sea-Doo.
Freedom!
For your nearest Sea-Doo watercraft dealer, check your local Yellow Pages or call toll-free 1-800-882-2900.
When sports cream, when arms are sore, when legs ache, when muscles hurt. Why sports cream? Massaging sports cream in brings fast pain relief. No medicine-y smell, no odor. Why sports cream? Because it works.
Athlete's Foot. Every year, over 28 million Americans get it. Try NP27. Its doctor-recommended ingredient stops burning and itching fast. NP27. Nothing's a better cure for Athlete's Foot.
I drive a race car for a living. I depend on the parts and pieces in my car. And I feel so confident knowing that Pennzoil is protecting the moving parts inside of my engine. Pennzoil's quality and protection give me the confidence I need to do my job without second thought. I've never had a problem with viscosity breakdown using Pennzoil. Their motor oil is the best against viscosity breakdown. That's why I have the confidence to use it on the street and in my race car. Pennzoil, performance, protection, quality.
Ask anyone who's driven a Ford lately. Ask them about quality. One of the reasons 5 of the 10 best-selling cars and trucks in America are Fords. The F-Series pickup, Taurus, Explorer, Escort, and Ranger. 5 out of 10 of the country's best sellers. It's quality that breeds success. Have you driven a Ford lately? It's more than just a question. It's an answer.
The Motorcraft 500, brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Menon, there's no better way to face the day than with Speed Stick by Menon. And by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light.
We still roll under caution at Atlanta Motor Speedway. caution because they wanted another chance to check the tires. Coming up next, more racing, as the best of these Winston Cup drivers will face the best from road racing and IndyCar racing, equal and matched cars. That, of course, is the International Race of Champions to determine the best of the best. Round one from the high banks of Daytona coming up. And boy, what a finish that one was. Don't miss that race. Don't miss this one as the green comes out. Harry Gant leads the field down with Kyle Petty with a great pit stop in second place. Davey Allison comes out in third.
That's Bobby Hill in the black car on the inside. And
interesting sponsorship on that car, isn't it?
It was all the Irishmen with St. Patrick's Day coming up, sponsored by Ireland.
Seems appropriate.
But there's another green car doing pretty well. Harry Gant.
Used to be the most unlucky color in racing. Look what it's doing for him now.
Yeah, he finished second about, what, a dozen times before he ever won his first Winston Cup race. They used to call him Hard Luck Harry.
Had no idea what he would do when he got into the winner's circle. He'd seen the edge of it too many times. Then last year, of course, 5 wins. We move back to Bill Elliott, who runs in 14th place. 2 wins in a row. Many thought this was going to be the 3rd in a row. There's some of that great technology as you ride on top of the car. Bill Elliott, really we expected him to be much more powerful here today, but he's not. Jack, can you update us?
Well, we'll check with Junior Johnson because I'm sure Junior expected him to be more powerful as well. Did you go the wrong way, Junior?
Well, right now we're having trouble getting our chassis adjusted for this, particular tire at this racetrack. This first time we've run the radius, and we've missed it along the way. Seems like a lot more than I thought we would, but he keeps getting a little better, so I think we're on the right track now, so he should get better the rest of the day.
But the question is, will time run out before he gets good enough to challenge for the lead?
Well, the way Harry Gant's running, I think time's run out on everybody.
Paul?
That's Junior, but I'll tell you what, you get Junior and Bill together, they start talking, and they're going to figure it out.
Hey,
what's happened here?
The 2 Ford just blew right by Harry Gant Jr. Davey Allison and Dick Trickle got Harry Gant back in 3rd spot now.
Yeah, I don't think Junior's quite right on that. I don't think it's over by a long ways. That Davey Allison and Dick Trickle, hey, those guys have not quit.
But Allison and Trickle hook up and move around Harry Gant. Now will they stay together?
Another thing that's going to make a difference now, the track is going to change again. The sun is starting to come out of places. The clouds have gone away and warm up quite a bit. So every segment of this race, we're going to see it change again.
Average speed of the race still down, car into the wall, right up brushing against it. That's Chad Little.
Greg Sachs.
Or excuse me, Greg Sachs, I'm sorry.
And he makes contact with the right side of the car.
Got a glimpse of Chad coming past him. And I wasn't so sure he wasn't going to get it too, but just a glancing blow. Back at the lead.
No yellow flag for it, still green, Paul.
Average speed of this race, 148.3 miles an hour. Race record is 156, set by Dale Earnhardt in 1990 in the Motorcraft race.
Davey's on the move again. Everybody's got to remember, every time they make a pit stop, they make little adjustments to chase the racetrack, to keep the car in tune with everything, and it looks like that's what Davey has done.
All right, so here's a chance to see what happened there, Benny.
Well, here's the car that we're talking about, Greg Sachs, the yellow car, 41. Ricky Rudd on the inside. That's Bill Elliott right behind him. And here they come off the corner. He gets up high in the loose stuff, it looks like, and loses control and goes up and just, as we see the back end come around, the rear end catches, and boom.
Now look at all the dust and the debris that's coming up. That shows everybody what they've been throwing from the inside of the track out. And when the guys don't run up that high, they don't keep it that clean.
Left a few parts on the track.
Well, that probably happens when you tap the wall a little bit. They shake them right off the car.
And NASCAR has to on the caution flag to go out and get that debris.
So now as they clean the track up with a caution out, we slow down with 183 laps complete. And still 19 cars running on the leader lap, the leader being this man, Davey Allison, the winner at the Daytona 500. been reasonably in charge of this race. And this is as Allison a few laps ago moved up behind Harry Gant. Had a little help from Dick Trickle. Trickle comes down inside, racing with Allison.
3 abreast.
Wow.
The 3 leaders going abreast.
No wonder Harry backed up and let those guys go.
Yeah, I think I'd have let him go too. But now we're under caution while they clean up the track. After Greg Sachs brushed the wall, they had to pick up some parts. And Doyle Ford has the yellow out again.